遠くで聞こえている遥かなる調べ忘れじの物語
And welcome everybody to the Saint Seiya Cosmocast. I'm Ramses, and sorry for the delay in getting this episode out. I had to deal with some real world stuff like moving and getting some stuff situated before I can actually do this episode. So unfortunately, this episode had to get delayed until about a month. So I'm sorry for the delay, but if there's any more delays that's gonna happen, there would be another mini episode to explain what's going on. But hopefully, going forward, we can be a little bit more consistent with our podcast going forward. So, I wanted to bring up this topic here. So, last time we talked, it was the beginning of things with COVID-19, and it was beginning to hit the United States. It was starting to make its way around Europe, and it was we're in the midst in China. It was already starting to be in the middle of stay-at-home orders in China. But we've been a month now since this has happened. Now the United States is now under most of the United States is under stay-at-home orders. Same with most of Europe and most of pretty much everywhere else around the world. China is finally opening up a lot of their stuff as well. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about how this is going to affect a little bit of the Saint Seiya stuff going forward. So I know this is not the kind of topic you want to be talking about, but I think this does need to be addressed, and it is an important topic. So, one of the first things that I have to bat for Saint Seiya is that the good news is that the Saint Seiya, the rest of the series is currently available. They just put up the series back in April 1st. So, all 114 episodes of the original series are available right now to watch on Netflix right now. And this was something that was well before the pandemic happened. We knew this was going to happen eventually, because we knew since January they've already been recording stuff for the Asgard saga. So I'm pretty sure in between the time between January and now and April, we knew that they were going to be dropping the series one way or another. But we don't know what's going to happen with the CGI series going forward. So no one said anything. No one's spoken up. Neither Netflix or anybody in the production staff has spoken up about what's going on with the CGI series just yet. But I'm pretty sure because how the seasons work and with a CGI show, it does take a little bit of time. But I think it's going to be a little bit more extra time considering the delays that's going to happen. So I wouldn't be surprised if we will see the next season of the CGI show no later than September or October. So let's see what happens. Let's see what Netflix has to say about that concerning anything that's related to any physical media. Seven Seas, the distributors for the Saint Seiya show in the United States, have announced that for a time being, all physical books will cease production in the United States. The last issue that came out was Volume 9 of the Saint Seiya show, and Volume 10 was supposed to be out in June. But even that is going to be a more tentative date now, so they've already said that even stuff heading towards at least after May would still be questionable because of what's going on right now. So it's right now up in the air when the next volume is going to come out for the series. So if you're into if you've been collecting Saint Seiya show in English, in physical copy, unfortunately you're gonna have to wait till that next issue pops. But they did say they're going to continue the series. They're going to continue all their series that they have available through digital medium. So this going to still come out the day and date in digital. So I believe they did say that issue 10 is going to come out in sometime in June. I believe the second week of June. So be on the lookout for that. And if you take up stuff through Comixology or through the App Store or Google Play. In Japan, we do know for a fact that Shueisha, the guys who published Shonen Jump, and Atiya Shoten, who published Shonen Champion, Shonen Red, have put a lot of their mangas currently put all their mangas and everything like their weekly offerings online for the time being, so people can get caught up. And they also put up a lot of the stuff as well, a lot of the more popular series as well. I'm pretty sure Saint Seiya is in one of the Saint Seiyas, either the original series or some of the spin-off series. Atiya Shojin is going to be on the is going to be available for them to watch, to read in this downtime. In terms of action figures, there hasn't been any big news so far. The only big news we know coming up for action figures is Saint Mythcloth, Unicorn Jabu. They're gonna make a revival version, which looks more like his version from the original cartoon, with a little bit more added pieces. It's not quite an EX just yet, I believe. It's just like a regular Saint Mythcloth, just redone. So that's supposed to be out in June, but considering how things are right now in Japan, I wouldn't be surprised if the figure gets delayed until like September at the latest. Concerning China, like I said, they're opening up a lot more stuff in China right now. Concerning what these did, I believe there was going to be an exhibition in China for the series, for I think the mobile game that they have, Saint Seiya Awakening. But unfortunately, that got canceled in the midst of all the COVID-19 issues going on. So we might have a date for that coming very soon, with what's going on, with considering how things are opening up in China right now. So we'll be hearing a little bit more about what's going on there. Just go come back here to the United States for a little bit. The biggest thing that's hurting in terms of like anything involving Saint Seiya or anything in the fandom really right now is the convention circuit. A lot of conventions were canceled, or they've been delayed till the following year, or are going to be delayed for another date altogether. I do know for a fact that this weekend it was supposed to be Anime Boston and WonderCon here in California, and Anime Boston in Massachusetts, but unfortunately those two conventions are not happening. And WonderCon's parent company is Comic Con International, and they did announce that like there is rumblings right now that they might actually cancel Comic Con 2020 because of the COVID-19 issue going on. Anime Expo will most definitely be canceled as well for this year, because considering that the convention center currently right now is hosting patients for COVID-19, I don't think that the convention center will even be remotely be ready. Even if the Hooper and Dreamer says they'd be we're given the okay to do anything as early as June, I don't think they're gonna make their date at all to make the convention happen. So in that 4th of July weekend. So unfortunately, they won't say anything about it because they want to get like the insurance money. So if it looks like the convention, if you hear something about a convention that's gonna happen within the next couple of months between now and say October, you might as well just say it's not gonna happen, because considering that a lot of these places use their convention centers now to like house a lot of sick people and a lot of what's going on as well, with like social distancing orders from their respected states. I would not be surprised if they would get if between now and October at the soonest we'll be hearing anything about like when people can come back and do conventions. Now, I do understand that unfortunately this is going to be a huge detriment to a lot of people, including the voice actors. A lot of voice actors who do a lot of voicing, though they're still getting a lot of work, because I do believe a lot of them are working remotely right now. But in terms of like doing conventions and such, that is now out of the question for like the foreseeable future. Same with like fan creations, fan works, and fan works who use stuff like the conventions. artist alley, or they have like a fan booth that where they can communicate with the fans. And they were hoping that they can get their works being seen by the fans or being brought by the fans. If you want to know more information as to what's going on in the convention circuit, I'm gonna leave a link to my friends over at Scarlet Rhapsody. They talk anime conventions and all other types of conventions happening all across the United States, and they have a very good report as to what's been going on with the COVID-19 situation and how it's going to affect conventions going forward. If you have the time to spare, about an hour or so, you give those guys a listen. They might be able to provide a little bit more in-depth knowledge about what's going on and provide just a perspective to see how these situations are going to be playing out going forward. Right now, it's uncertain times right now. I'm sorry that these things tend to happen, and it's unfortunate these things just that they happened like this. And it's because we weren't prepared for any of this. No one can be prepared for anything like this, no matter how much time you can be, under prep. It's uncertain times always lead to uncertain things happening. So it's just right now the only with no real answer, and like all this anxiety pent up and all that stuff, it becomes really really difficult to do pretty much anything. I know for me it's a little bit difficult because I have depression. I'm gonna let you in on that with the information that I have, and it's been really difficult for me to do a lot of the things that I've been wanting to do. In addition to do like the waiting on a lot of things to get activated and waiting for things to come through before I can do it, before I can progress forward. So for me, it's been a little bit more difficult, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people that's been suffering through depression and suffering through like just being stir crazy or just being like cabin fever and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are right now suffering through that. Not being able to be physically close to anybody, or considering how things are right now under lockdown, it's become very difficult, and it's just hard to just adapt to what's going on because like we're humans and we are or we need some sort of physical touch sometimes, and unfortunately we don't have that, and it just makes us very tense, very very what's a good way of saying this, it just makes us very very insecure and very very what's a good word also, it makes us feel very uncertain. And right now, the only thing I can contribute right now is just the only thing we can do right now is just wait it out. Like just wait until like whatever state tells us that we can do stuff. Use proper hygiene. Take a shower every day. Wash your hands every time you do things. Wear clean clothes. Cut any trips to like a minimum, like a bare minimum at all. If you're gonna go out, wear a mask, wear gloves, and and as you work at essential jobs, please keep that stuff clean. And we can overcome this, guys. It's gonna be very difficult. I know it's very daunting right now, but we just gotta keep being strong about what's going on right now. And if it's not for us, it's gotta be for other people around us. Always bear in mind, it's you gotta fight for your fellow person. If there's one thing that Saint Seiya has taught us, it's never about the individual. It's about the person you're fighting with. And when we get to the episodes later, you get to see that when we get to what's happening with Shiryu and how he has to and how he sacrifices his own life sometimes to fix the cloths that are broken, you can see that it's not about him. It's about helping the others because he knows he can count on Seiya. And we should be like that, where we have to count on our other friends, our other people around us to do the right thing for us. So, let's get started with our episode discussion of episodes 6 through 12 of the anime. We're starting to see things like start progressing a little bit more with the series. We're seeing like a lot more characters being introduced. We have our fifth major character, which is Iki, being introduced in his full glory. Um, and we see also with like the Black Saints and his little mooks, the Black Phoenixes, and we also get to see a little bit of Mu and Kiki as well. One of the things that struck me as odd, having coming back to the series after so long, reading the manga for so long, and almost forgetting almost everything about the anime, is I forgot how big Kiki's role eventually became as the series went on. I believe that I don't know if that was because of merchandising reasons or maybe because they felt like they needed a kid character to be more active with the rest of the Saints so they can like even their numbers out. But regardless, he's there with the rest of the team, and he plays kind of a pivotal role to just be like the guy that's just sending in their stuff and stuff like that. So, sort of like their like mini companion that's just there just to just be there. Usually, a lot of American cartoons will have like a teenager or for a little kid to be part of that kind of group. So it just kind of feels like they saw potential with Kiki and they decided to run with it. Um, and just it's like I thought for a while this is like you know because again it's been so long since I watched this. I think like the last time I watched this I was like still in my mid-teens, and it's not so it hasn't been super recently when I've actually watched this series. It's just it plays tricks with me. All this has been playing tricks with me to the point where I thought this was like I thought these 12 episodes were like a 30 episode stretch. And I'm like, how are they over here already in like 12 episodes? Like at this show is going quicker than I thought. And when we get to stuff much later, I thought like, man, that when it got to that part of the series, it really dragged for a while for me when I was a little kid. But I don't know now how the stuff like midway through the Silver Saint arc and the the Iki arc and all that stuff post ER how that's gonna play out because I do know like that's a long stretch of show that happens and I want to say it's not interesting. I just feel like it's just it needs more. It just felt like it was a lot longer, especially when you're a kid. It just feels like something is just drag out until the part that you really want to see happens, which is the Full House's arc. But again, it's gotta be my mind playing tricks on me. Especially when I was like little and I had like all these things going on in my mind and stuff like that. So it's like, let's see how things work out as an adult. The animation is very very good. Like I've said this before in the last episode that the staff has done an incredible job with the series and the way they've restored this for Netflix. They've done an incredible job with it. It looks really really cool. Especially like there's this sequence in episode 7 or 8 or 6, I don't remember, where the Gold Saints are trying to escape into the city, into like Tokyo and stuff like that, and like just it just looks incredible. Like it's the amazing cityscapes. They did an incredible job. It just seems so jarring because you see these guys like wearing like these mythological armors and stuff like that, yet they're in like modern cityscapes, and it's just kind of like hits you over the head with like how modern they are in the world, and how it's also like very like it has like that like I know I made a joke and I is that wow this is like some sort of like synthwave kind of thing it very feels very 80s for the sake of being 80s, and it just has that like feel to it. You can't really put like a you can't really put a particular feel to it. It feels like something from the 80s. It totally speaks because like the way it all looks and the way how it all feels. It is something like out of like something totally 80s, and it's like it's totally talking to people at the time. One thing I didn't mention about the series last time we were talking, maybe I did, I don't know, was that the dub has been really really nailing it really really well. Shout out to all the voice actors playing their for all the main voice actors, Bryson Bangus, Blake Shepard, Patrick Poodle, Blake Johnson and Adam Gibbs, who all play respective roles of Seiya, Shiryu, Hyoga, Shun, and Iki. They all play their roles not just in this dub, but they also play them in the CGI series, with the exception of Blake Jackson, who is unfortunately, because the character is now a girl. She's in the CGI series. She's played by Lucy Christian, the voice of Nami in One Piece currently in the dub of One Piece. But regardless, that's a whole different topic altogether. I just want to say, like I said, it's just really good that these voice actors are hitting the marks really well, and it's kind of a long series, and for them to hit these marks, because like you're gonna get used to these voices for a very long time, and for them to be really this good, especially for a series that you're gonna be watching for a very long time. It's good that they actually got some really good voice acting talents to get behind and put them in the series. The fights are just really good, really incredible. They're always really cool to see. Like I said, like everything in that episode where they're just trying to chase over the Black Saints, the Black Phoenixes for the gold cloths. For the gold cloth is really good. I think that's like one of the best highlights for me, because I think like the way it looks, the way it just feels. I think it works so well for what it is, and they did an incredible job with the remastering of like the footage and stuff like that. So it's just really good. The way they reworked it, they not reworked it, like the way they did everything, they upscaled everything perfectly so it can actually look clean and everything. It just looks really good. Like they did an incredible job with that, and it shows off really well. It's still a very high quality show. I'm surprised by the quality. I thought, unlike other shows I've watched that are in the same time period where a lot of the quality has dipped, this series still was able to maintain a lot of its core of looking really good. There's still lots of these, like, you still haven't hit like weird shots where things are happening where it's like, wait, what's going on? Why does that guy look squashed and stuff like that? Looks like they really did take their time at the time to do the series proper and stuff like that. These are really good episodes, and right now, if you're watching it, if you're following along, you're pretty much at episode 12, so you're left kind of on a cliffhanger, and it's ramping up to me really well. I think they did a good job ramping everything and getting everything to where it needs to be currently. So yeah, if you haven't watched this, I think it's a way better stretch of episodes than the last ones, even though the last ones were really good. It's really, I found myself enjoying this more now as an adult, and also have read the manga since then to really understand what's going on a little bit more, with stuff that's being used and what they changed or what they left behind. I do know for a fact that going forward, there's going to be a lot of filler stuff, but I'm actually kind of excited for that as well, because I do know that a lot of that filler stuff, it's like I have not touched it since I was a kid, and I want to see how that held up age-wise. So unfortunately, still don't have any comments about any of these episodes or anything in general. That's fine. It's a podcast that's growing. So if you do have a comment, or you want to leave us, leave us a comment about the episodes that you're watching. We're going to be watching eventually, which is going to be 13 through 18, I believe, which is going to be for episode 5. So, if you have anything coming up for those episodes, or anything in general you want to discuss about Saint Seiya, you can leave us a tweet at StCosmocast, or you can use the hashtag KeepBurningThatCosmos on Twitter, and you can participate in the conversation like that. You can subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and many more places online. Just follow the Anchor FM website, or wherever you download your podcast to get more information. So, with all that said, thank you very much for listening, and remember, keep burning that cosmos.
La canción que